Wednesday session, not even when the office was short-staffed. Her predictability was something she once shared openly with her ex-boyfriend during the period when they were together. She mentioned therapy casually back then, not realizing that it would later play a role in the timeline investigators would reconstruct. On this particular Wednesday, nothing about her routine changes. She parks in the same spot. She arrives at the same time. She stays for the full session. And when the hour ends, she walks toward the same exit she always uses, completely unaware that someone who should not be there is already waiting at her car. Alana met Marcus Reed through mutual friends 2 years earlier. He worked as a delivery driver and had a quiet, soft-spoken personality that made him appear trustworthy. In the beginning, their relationship looked stable. They went out on weekends, shared meals with family, and spent time at each other's apartments. But over time, Marcus began showing signs that concerned her. He grew more curious about where she was, who she was with, and what she did when he wasn't around. He checked her social media often, questioned her about coworkers, and became frustrated when she didn't respond to messages right away. The tension built slowly. It started with comments about her schedule, then requests that she change certain habits. Eventually, he started appearing unannounced, once at her job, once outside her apartment, and several times at places she visited regularly. Alana tried to handle the issues calmly, suggesting boundaries and space, but Marcus struggled to accept distance. His behavior became unpredictable. He alternated between apologizing and becoming defensive, and the constant worry pushed her to end the relationship 6 months before the night at the clinic. Even after she broke things off, he continued calling from unknown numbers. She blocked him each time. Family members told detectives later that she had mentioned feeling watched, but she never believed he would harm her. She never filed a police report. To her, the relationship was officially over. To Marcus, it was only paused. A week before the incident, Marcus found a way to contact her again. He used a new number and sent a long message apologizing for the past. He wrote that he respected her healing, that he supported her therapy, and that he wanted nothing from her except closure. Alana didn't reply. She showed the message to her sister but brushed it off, saying he probably just wanted to feel better about himself. She didn't think it meant anything beyond that. But Marcus took her silence as an opening, not rejection. He began checking places he knew she visited, starting with her job and ending with the clinic. For several days, he appeared near the area around the time her session ended, but he never approached her directly. This part of the pattern wasn't visible to her or her counselor at the time. It's only discovered once investigators later connect street footage, timestamps, and background movement near the clinic. By the time he shows up in the parking lot that Wednesday evening, the apology text is no longer an apology. It is a preparation. Street footage from a business next door catches Marcus walking down the sidewalk at a steady pace. He isn't rushing, but he isn't wandering either. He turns at the corner and heads toward the back lot behind the clinic, the route with the least visibility. He never enters the building. He never approaches the main door. He heads straight to Alana's car, something he knows well from their time together. He doesn't touch it. He simply positions himself beside the driver's side door as if he belongs there. He checks his surroundings twice. One car pulls out of the lot around 6:52 p.m., and he waits until it disappears before moving closer to the storage shed area. The camera catches him looking around again, making sure no one else is approaching. He seems unsettled, but not in a frantic way. More like he's waiting for a moment he has rehearsed in his mind. The hood of his sweatshirt covers most of his face, but the way he keeps looking at the clinic door makes his intention clear. He is not here by accident. He is not passing through. He is waiting for one specific person to step outside. Inside the clinic, hallway footage shows Alana walking out of her counselor's office at 7:02 p.m. She holds her notebook to her chest, looking calm but tired. Her counselor walks with her to the lobby, stopping only when she reaches the glass exit door. There is nothing unusual about her demeanor. She doesn't seem afraid or anxious or aware that anyone is waiting for her outside. She tells the counselor she'll see them next Wednesday, the same routine as always. The camera watches her push open the door and step into the early evening air. Her car sits exactly where she parked it. She walks toward it at a normal pace, unaware that someone is standing partially hidden on the driver's side. This is the last indoor footage of her alive. The parking lot camera captures Alana stepping onto the walkway and toward her car. She takes only a few steps before her posture shifts. She sees Marcus leaning beside the vehicle. Her shoulders tighten. Her pace slows. She takes a small step backward, not enough to run, but enough to show she is startled. Marcus lifts one hand as if asking her to come over and talk. He doesn't yell. He doesn't rush her. He just waits. But the look on his face is enough to make her pull in a quick breath and step farther from him. She turns slightly toward the corner of the lot where the camera's angle begins to fade. The area near the storage shed and the single overgrown tree. She doesn't scream. She doesn't argue. She simply backs away, choosing distance instead of confrontation. And Marcus moves with her, closing in slowly. Alana continues moving backward until she reaches the very edge of the camera's view. The frame shows her silhouette fading into the corner where the shed blocks visibility. Marcus follows closely. The upper part of his jacket is still visible for a moment, but he steps out of frame seconds later. The camera keeps recording the empty center of the lot. Nothing else moves. No other cars pull in. No sound is captured. For the next several minutes, there is no sign of either of them. For several minutes, the parking lot camera records nothing but stillness. The part of the lot where Alana and Marcus stepped into is completely hidden behind the storage shed, leaving investigators without direct footage of what happened there. The lighting in the corner is dim, and even if the camera had shifted a few inches, it still would not have caught the area behind the building. At 7:04 p.m., the timestamp shows the empty lot, her car untouched, and only the distant sound of passing traffic picked up by the microphone near the camera's mount. Nothing about the feed indicates the danger unfolding just beyond its reach. At 7:26 p.m., movement reappears. Marcus steps back into frame, walking from the blind corner. His hood is still up. He keeps his head low and his hands tucked into his sleeves. He stays in frame only long enough to glance toward the clinic door, then heads toward the rear exit that leads to the alley. He doesn't look back at her car. He doesn't hesitate. He leaves the lot on foot and vanishes behind the building. The camera never shows Alana return. Her car remains parked in the same spot for the rest of the night. Inside the clinic, the hallway camera shows the counselor finishing paperwork, gathering belongings, and locking the office for the night. They walk toward the lobby, shut off the lights, and step outside at 7:12 p.m., unaware of what transpired just minutes earlier. The parking lot camera records the counselor heading toward their own car parked near the front of the building. They start the engine and drive out of the lot, passing the row where Alana's Corolla sits. They don't notice anything unusual. There's no sound, no movement, and nothing to suggest someone had been harmed nearby. Once the counselor's vehicle turns onto the road, the lot grows silent. Her car sits alone, untouched. The camera continues recording an uneventful night, unaware that the person who parked that car will never return to drive it home. The next morning, Alana's sister becomes concerned when she doesn't answer her phone. Alana always sends a quick text before work, but by 9 a.m., there is nothing her sister calls the dental office where she works. When they say she never arrived, the worry turns into fear. By late morning, her family files a missing person report with Birmingham police. Officers begin by checking the locations she visits weekly. The clinic is the first stop. Staff confirms she attended her Wednesday session and left the office at her usual time. Her car is still parked in the back lot. When officers review the exterior footage, the tension in the room shifts. They watch the moment Alana leaves the building. They see her step toward the lot. They see her stop when she notices Marcus. They watch her back away into the blind spot. They see Marcus follow. They see only him return. The fact that she never comes back into frame and that her car is still there immediately escalates the case. She didn't walk away on her own. Something happened where the camera could not see. Detectives watched the footage several times from multiple angles. Even without seeing the crime itself, the timeline is clear. Marcus arrives before she leaves the building. He waits beside her car. She recognizes him and retreats. He follows her out of frame. Only he returns. Officers freeze frame the moment his hood shifts just enough to show the edge of his jawline. They compare it to photos from older reports tied to Alana's past calls about unwanted contact from him. Everything starts to fit together. They also check street cameras near the exit of the alley. One camera on a business at the corner catches Marcus walking away from the clinic at 7:26 p.m., matching the timestamp on the clinic feed. The footage also shows that he does not return to the lot. He leaves the area entirely. Detectives now have a clear order of events leading up to her disappearance. What they need next is to find her. Investigators trace Marcus's path after he leaves the lot. He is not recorded on any more cameras in the immediate area, meaning he likely moved through the wooded space behind the alley before heading to a street without surveillance. They obtain his phone records. The pings show Marcus near the clinic between 6:45 p.m. and 7:30 p.m., matching the footage. Alana's phone goes offline at 7:19 p.m., suggesting the device was powered off, destroyed, or taken to an area with no signal. Her car staying in the lot eliminates the possibility that she simply walked off or left the area willingly. She would have called someone, she would have gone home. Detectives believe whatever happened to her occurred shortly after she stepped into the blind corner of the lot. The lack of struggle visible in the main frame suggests it happened quickly and out of view. This clear timeline directs the next step, searching the area behind the clinic, especially the wooded lot connected to the alley. On Friday morning, 2 days after she disappeared, a search team begins sweeping the wooded area behind the clinic. Officers walk through tall grass, fallen branches, and patches of overgrowth. The terrain is uneven and quiet, a place someone could use to hide evidence quickly. Just after noon, one officer spots something beneath a cluster of thick brush about 200 feet from the back of the clinic. It is a piece of clothing matching what Alana wore when she left her therapy session. When they move branches aside, they find her lying on her side, partially covered by leaves and debris. There is no sign of a struggle around her. There is no long trail or disturbed dirt to suggest a fight took place. Everything indicates she was placed there quickly and with purpose. A medical examiner arrives and confirms what officers already suspect. Alana is deceased. There is a single gunshot wound to the head. No other injuries are visible. Her cause of death is ruled as homicide. The bullet is recovered at the scene and later sent for ballistic comparison. With the discovery of the body, the missing person investigation becomes a murder investigation. And every piece of evidence continues to point toward the same person. Detectives locate Marcus at his apartment later that afternoon. When they knock on the door, he answers wearing different clothes from the night before, but he is visibly tense. He claims he was home all evening and denies being near the clinic at any point. Detectives tell him they have surveillance footage showing him in the lot. He pauses. His breathing changes, and he asks what the video shows. They explain the timeline, including the fact that he followed Alana into the blind corner. He stops responding. He doesn't admit anything. He doesn't ask for clarification. He simply requests an attorney. Inside his apartment, detectives notice a jacket draped over a chair that matches the one seen in the footage. They obtain a warrant to search his home and vehicle. His phone location data places him near the clinic. His shoes carry the same mixture of dirt and gravel found behind the building. A handgun case is found in his closet, though the weapon itself is missing. The evidence begins to close in around him long before the ballistic report returns. The ballistic comparison confirms that the bullet recovered from Alana's body matches a handgun Marcus purchased earlier in the year. Gunshot residue is found on the sleeve of the jacket recovered from his apartment. Fibers from Alana's clothing are located in the trunk of his vehicle. Her phone is discovered in a drainage ditch, a street away from the clinic, its screen shattered and SIM card removed. With the accumulation of evidence, surveillance, phone data, ballistics, and physical findings, detectives obtain a warrant for his arrest. Marcus is taken into custody and charged with kidnapping and murder. He refuses to speak further about what happened in the blind corner of the lot. The trial lasts several weeks, but the facts are straightforward. Prosecutors present the timeline built from CCTV footage, witness statements, search records, and forensic reports. They explain that the camera did not capture the moment of death, but captured everything leading to it and everything after, enough to show what occurred beyond the lens. The medical examiner testifies that Alana died from a single close-range gunshot wound to the head. The ballistic match to Marcus's firearm seals the connection. The defense offers no alternative explanation that fits the footage, the timeline, or the physical evidence. The jury returns a unanimous verdict, guilty of first-degree murder and kidnapping. Marcus Reed is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case file notes that although the parking lot camera did not record the actual killing, It captured the moments that mattered most: the approach, the confrontation, the disappearance into the blind spot, and his return alone. Those angles provided the path investigators needed to find the truth, locate the victim, and secure a conviction, closing the case with full confirmation of how and where Alana Mercer's life was taken. Alana's story showed how a person can follow every step to move on from a harmful relationship and still face danger from someone who refuses to let go. She kept her distance, changed her routine, and focused on rebuilding her life. But the person who once claimed to care for her used the information he already knew to find her again. What happened to her is a reminder that unwanted contact, unexpected visits, and sudden apologies from an ex are not harmless moments. They are signs that someone may be holding on tighter than they admit. Her case underscored how important it is to take early red flags seriously and to treat repeated boundary violations as warnings instead of misunderstandings. Alana's life mattered, and the pattern that led to her death is one many people overlook until it becomes too late. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and share, and stay tuned for more stories.